guys, so grab your coffee or tea if you wish. However, this is just going to be a video response to Raven NightSong's video, What Makes a Coven. Pretty much as soon as I started watching it, got into the middle of it, I felt compelled in order to make a response. Finished it, and I figured that instead of posting up comments that would probably end up being way too long, that I might as well just do a video response. She stated many good points when it comes to practicing in a coven. Although I have been solitary pretty much my whole entire life, that doesn't mean that I still can't express my opinions. Everybody has their own opinion, and well, I have mine. And you guys already know me. I try not to disrespect and or offend anybody, so any comments that I make, any opinions that I express is not directed towards anybody. It's just general. But as I said, she made some very good points. One thing that has bothered me for years, pretty much ever since I was about 16 years old, you know, I've been interested in paganism since I was about 12. Went up to mom and said, hey, I want to be a witch. And if you watch my my past in paganism video, you will kind of get an explanation of my history on that. But I've basically been studying this path since I was about 13. But one thing that has bothered me is that, you know, you get the new people in, which is all fine and dandy. You know, there's nothing wrong with being interested, studying, practicing your own path. It's just when you're a few weeks into your practice and you want to start a coven and you get that all high and mighty attitude about you. I do understand that not everybody does this, but when you do, it's very annoying. It's disrespectful. There are even those who will do the year and a day study by themselves and then all of a sudden want to make a coven. Now I will express that, you know, being part of this path and doing the year and a day study does not make you a high priest or a high priestess. Yes, you yourself are a priest and priestess, a goddess and god. However, that does not mean that you can just all of a sudden on a whim go out and form your own coven without, I would say, without any formal training. Formal training basically meaning that studying with a coven, studying underneath a high priest and high priestess who have been practicing for years and, for lack of a better phrase, know their shit. You know, in order to study for a year and a day and all of a sudden decide in order to make your own coven, it's kind of immature, disrespectful. You know, there are people who have practiced for years and are quite content with being solitary. Or they will go out and they will find a coven in order to study under. I have one member, part of my Facebook group, who has stated that he wishes in order to make his own coven. However, he wants to have at least 10 years under his belt before he does. And quite honestly, that is a more, how do I say this? That is a more obtainable goal than studying for a year and a day and then deciding in order to do so. You know, at least then you have the years, the experience, the knowledge, and the wisdom in order to back you up. And not just that short amount of time. Now, it's one thing in order to have a group of friends who are all on the same level and, you're studying together, that's something different. But when you're the high and mighty one, then that tends to cause a problem with me. I had a friend through MySpace, when I still had a MySpace, that she's studying for like 6 months, and then all of a sudden she was a high priestess of a coven. And it's like, what? It's like, I've been studying since I was 13, and all of a sudden you're taking the role of a high priestess? It's like, I don't know, it just rubs me the wrong way. It's kind of like, I can make so many comparisons, but I won't. It just rubs me the wrong way. But as I said, I've pretty much been solitary my whole entire life, and it's just my belief, my opinion, that you need to have the knowledge, the wisdom, the years in order to fall back upon. Because what if someone comes along and asks you a question, you don't know the answer to it? Especially if it's a pretty basic question. That's a problem. You also need to have, I would say, the attitude about it, but it has to be to a certain extent. You can't be egotistic. You can be confident, but don't be conceited. Study the witch's pyramid. Make sure that you are well grounded within your own practice before you go out and form a coven. Make sure that you are capable of keeping things to yourself. One of the points of the pyramid, in order to keep silent. You need to be able in order to keep silent about your path and about your work. In order to manifest. Because someone may come along, may not agree with what you're doing, laugh at you, and then your work falls apart. May not come apart. May not come into being. I apologize for any ramblings. I finished watching the video, and I haven't expressed my opinions on this because I kind of forgotten about it until I saw that. And it's nothing towards, Raven at all. I adore watching her videos. It's just, it reminded me of the couple of pet peeves that I have when it comes to young or inexperienced practitioners forming their own covens and taking the role of basically a higher being. There are people that I know who have practiced for years, who have the knowledge, the wisdom, the experience. Their abilities are amazing. The work that they have done is marvelous. And I don't necessarily say it to their face, but, as Raven said that, high priest or high priestess should be humble. And I know people who are, and they shouldn't have their own coven. They just choose not to. But that's of their own free will. It's, like I said, it's the young people, inexperienced people that rub me the wrong way. And it's not to keep people from their goals. You know, you can have goals. You know, you can have a goal of forming your own coven, but just study, practice, have knowledge and wisdom, the years, the experience, especially networking. Practice inside and outside. You know, have your study group. Have your circle with friends. Just don't take on the role of higher than those around you if you don't have the experience. I hope this all made sense. That's been bothering me since I was about 15 or 16, and I kind of like just let it slip away because it's been a while since I've watched people do this, even though I know that happens pretty often, actually. I mean, there will even be people who, you know, one day all of a sudden become absolutely enthralled in paganism, and within 2 weeks they're dedicating themselves to goddess and god without even picking up a book. And it's irritating. You know, one of the things that kept me from doing that myself was my mother, because she told me not to do my research. She told me straight up, do your homework. She didn't care that I wanted to be a witch. She just wanted me and her to know what I was getting myself into. And that's another thing that people need to realize when starting a coven. It's kind of like, it's almost like hosting a party. You know, you need to make sure that you have everything in order to be able, in order to host that party and be a good hostess. So, that's just one example that just randomly popped up in my head, so I said it. Thank you, Raven. You have stirred up my brain and made me antsy and anxious in order to do this video. It wasn't completely along the lines of what you were getting at, but I guess it could be another few key points to like the bottom of the list. Trying to think if there is anything else that I want to say, and I don't believe that there is. To those of you who watched this video, the Raven NightSong's video will be linked down below, so then that way, in case you haven't seen it, then you know what I'm responding to. And plus, she's just a marvelous person. She's bubbly and happy, and most of the time she's happy. Sometimes, you know, you have your rough patches, but everybody does. But I love watching her videos. You know, it's nice in order to watch someone who's normal, in a sense, and not just worried about what everybody else thinks. Kind of like a few chosen YouTubers that I know, which, nothing against them, but it's nice in order to watch someone who shows their true selves and is, like I said, normal. So, anyway, thank you for watching. Sorry for my rambles. You guys know how I am, especially with the spur of the moment videos. I tend to ramble a lot more. My brain tends to have, you know, gaps in between of what I'm trying to say because it's not exactly catching up with everything, and sometimes my mind goes faster than my mouth, and sometimes my mouth goes faster than my brain, kind of like that. Thank you for watching. Raven NightSong's video will be linked down below in case you want to check it out, in case you haven't already. So yeah, that's it. Love and blessings.